Transcending Death, Optimistic Reflections on a Life After Life. To imagine a life beyond death is to enter a territory of uncertainty and speculation, where philosophy becomes our guide and reflection our compass. From an optimistic perspective, we can approach this concept as an opportunity to transcend the limitations of our earthly existence and explore the possibility of a plane of existence still unknown to us. Philosophy invites us to consider that death is not the absolute end, but rather a transition to something different, a metamorphosis of being that escapes our rational understanding. From this perspective, we can glimpse the comforting idea that life is not limited to our physical experience in this world, but extends to broader and more mysterious horizons. Reflection leads us to question our perception of time and space, and challenges us to contemplate the possibility that realities exist beyond our current understanding. What would another life really mean in metaphysical terms? Would it be a continuity of our consciousness, a reunion with loved ones who have gone before us, or perhaps an integration into an infinite cosmos of energy and consciousness? From an optimistic perspective, we can embrace the idea that death does not mark the end of our journey, but rather the beginning of a new adventure in which our souls can find peace, fulfillment, and spiritual evolution. Instead of fearing the unknown, we can embrace the possibility that death is simply a threshold to a vaster, more meaningful reality. Ultimately, the idea of a life beyond death invites us to adopt an attitude of openness and humility before the mysteries of the universe. It reminds us that, although our minds may struggle to understand it all, there are aspects of existence that transcend our cognitive abilities and invite us to explore the limits of what we know and believe. In this search for meaning and transcendence, we find the true essence of philosophy, the constant search for truth and wisdom in a world full of questions and infinite possibilities. The notion of a life after death has been a constant in the history of humanity, manifesting itself in various forms through religions, mythologies, and philosophical systems. From ancient beliefs in the underworld to contemporary ideas about reincarnation and life after death, this idea has had a powerful influence on the way humans understand their existence and confront the mystery of mortality. An optimistic perspective on this topic invites us to consider death as an integral part of a broader cycle of life, a process of continuous transformation in which our energies and consciousness become intertwined with the very fabric of the universe. Instead of perceiving death as the absolute end of our individuality, we can imagine it as a stage in an infinite journey of discovery and spiritual growth. Philosophically, the idea of a life after death raises fundamental questions about the nature of reality, personal identity, and the purpose of our existence. What does it really mean to be me beyond the confines of my physical body? Is there a continuity of consciousness after death, or do we simply dissolve into the vastness of the cosmos? These questions lead us to explore concepts such as the soul, destiny, and free will from a perspective that goes beyond the limits of sensory and rational experience. An optimistic look at this theme gives us hope that death does not mark the definitive end of our experiences and relationships, but rather the beginning of a new phase in which our souls can find peace, healing, and renewal. It invites us to trust in the wisdom of the universe and the possibility that our lives are imbued with a higher purpose that transcends our immediate understanding. Ultimately, considering the possibility of a life beyond death challenges us to embrace uncertainty and contemplate existence with an open mind and a brave heart. It reminds us that, although death may seem like the end of all we know, it can also be the threshold to an exciting new chapter in the great book of universal life. From an optimistic perspective, the idea of a life after death can also be seen as a beacon of hope in times of loss and suffering. It offers us comfort in thinking that those we love have not disappeared forever, but have passed into a form of existence in which love and emotional bonds can transcend the barriers of time and space. This vision allows us to find meaning in our experiences of loss, and encourages us to move forward with the certainty that our loved ones continue to exist in some way, even if they are no longer physically with us. From a philosophical perspective, the idea of a life after death invites us to reflect on the very nature of reality and existence. What really lasts beyond death? Is it the essence of our being, our memories, our actions, or something else? This reflection leads us to consider the possibility that our identity transcends physical experience and is rooted in something deeper and eternal. Furthermore, The notion of a life beyond death challenges us to reconsider our relationship to time and space. If there is a plane of existence beyond our material reality, how does it relate to our physical world? Is it possible that there are multiple dimensions or levels of reality that coexist simultaneously but are inaccessible to our limited perception? From an optimistic perspective, this reflection leads us to embrace the idea that life is a continuous journey of learning, growth, and evolution, which transcends the limits of our earthly existence. It reminds us that we are indivisibly connected to the very fabric of the universe, and that our lives have a greater purpose that goes beyond our individual concerns and desires. In short, the idea of a life beyond death challenges us to broaden our horizons and consider new possibilities for understanding the nature of reality and our own existence. It invites us to embrace uncertainty with courage and curiosity, and to cultivate an attitude of openness and acceptance toward the mysteries that surround us. Ultimately, it offers us hope that death does not mark the end of our story, but rather the beginning of an exciting new chapter in the eternal flow of universal life.